Alrighty, welcome to the e-juice mixing tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this juice here, which is just a simple 4-flavor juice. So you're going to want to start with your flavors and your nicotine on your table, and you can go ahead and move off the flavors to the side so you just have your nicotine there, and then you can grab your mixing bottle as well as your syringes. So this recipe is going to be a 450 milliliter mix, and I'm going to be using 3 separate syringes. So the first syringe there is the syringe I use for flavors. It's a 10 milliliter syringe. The second is for nicotine. It's a 5 milliliter syringe. And the final syringe is a 1 milliliter syringe for the menthol. And I do like to keep them separate just because it prevents getting any contamination between them, adding menthol to a non-menthol mix, adding nicotine to a non-nicotine mix, stuff like that. So you're going to want to take your nicotine syringe and your nicotine and add the correct amount of nicotine to your final mixing container. For this recipe, for 450 milliliters at 3 milligram, it's going to be 13.5 milliliters. I do try to make it relatively exact, even though the margin of error is pretty high for such a large bottle. It's just good practice. It's also good practice to have a towel or microfiber cloth nearby just so you can wipe down your syringe. If you do get this stuff on your skin, I do recommend you wash it off immediately. A lot of people actually wear gloves and face masks, goggles, and stuff like that. And I do recommend that, but obviously I don't do that. So next you're going to have your flavors. I'm starting out here with my strawberry flavor because it is the highest percentage flavor of the mix at 7%. So that equals 31.5 milliliters for this particular 450 milliliter bottle. So I go ahead and add that and wipe that off, and that way it doesn't get your table more dirty than it needs to be. And then using that same syringe, I'm going to add the banana cream flavor, which is 5%, the next highest percentage. So that's 22.5 milliliters. Wiping that off. The next flavor is the dragon fruit flavor at 3%. And that comes out to a total of 13.5% or 13.5 milliliters for the 450 milliliter mix. Wipe that off, and you're finished with that syringe for your normal flavors. So the only syringe you have left on your table now should be your menthol syringe, if you're using one. Not everybody likes it, obviously. So then finally, you're going to add your menthol. I'm using 0.3%. That's very important. It's not 3%, it is 0.3%, which means it's only going to be 1.35 milliliters for this particular mix. So you can see here I'm using a 1 milliliter syringe. I also do recommend shaking your menthol before use because it can settle or crystallize. I didn't do it here, but generally I do. And I also normally make sure to cap it because the menthol can get in the inside of the bag and sort of contaminate the other syringes, which I don't like when I'm trying to make juice that doesn't have menthol. So that's it for your flavoring. Then you just want to grab your VG. Now, for a bottle of this size, I normally just pour it in, but you can also have a 50 to 100 milliliter syringe and actually just pop off the syringe with a finger on the tip and then you can pour in the VG and then sort of invert it with the syringe in there a little bit. It's sort of hard to explain. Maybe I'll make a video on that process too. But for this, I'm just going to eyeball it up to about 80%. That's not as far as I'll be filling it, but I do like a little bit of room to shake before I finish it, because it's going to be really hard to get a good mix once it's like completely full. So I just like to make it a little bit more homogeneous before that happens. And then once it's a little bit mixed, you can top it off with your remaining VG. And then I just like to wipe that down. And wipe off the tip of your container. And that's it. That's all there is to it to make a bottle of e-juice. You do want to give that a final mix, obviously. But there you go. That's how you make a simple 4-flavor bottle of e-liquid. Thanks for watching.